Okay. So he's coming in blind today. He don't know what we're talking about. But he's going to love it. All right. Today we are going to talk about commitment with regard to organized sports. Okay? So, here's what happened. So I'm listening to this radio bit, and this guy, first and foremost, this one's going to set him off. 10-year-old son. It's a pretty good picture for a 10-year-old.
Okay.
Not as confident with the fielding, turns out.
The kid?
The kid. So he's put a lot of effort into learning that and everything, but he was picked up by a travel team.
Okay.
Because he was pitching some fire for 10 years old. They start having games. They're like maybe 3 games in, and the kid realizes that he is absolutely freaking terrified of fielding at the pitcher's mound. And he don't want to play. So, all the men on the show were like, well, then he's still got to finish the season. And, whatever after that. The one mom on the show is like, well, if he doesn't want to play, then he shouldn't have to play. You just take him out. And go.
So, here's the way I look at it. And I had this conversation with you during our girls' softball. Got a little upset because one wasn't playing as much as she should have been playing, and she should have been. Okay.
Okay.
But the answer was, I'm taking them home. No.
We've actually...
But what you're teaching them is, once you get into something, if you don't like it, just quit.
Yeah, so what I can tell you is, from a whole different perspective is, as a former hiring manager, I have always loved, particularly in the manufacturing fields, to hire people who have participated in team sports. It builds certain characteristics and commitments to other people that they're working with. And now I'm not going to say I have ever not hired somebody because they didn't play a team sport, but I've always had success in a lot of specific roles with people who have been successful playing team sports. I feel like it teaches your kids commitment. I feel like if you let your child quit during a season when they've made a commitment, not only to themselves, but to the other people that they're playing with, that you're building commitment issues in that adult later.
I agree. And then you can also, there's several ways to look at it. If the kid is really absolutely terrified, they're probably going to get hurt. Okay?
Right.
Because when you play scared, you'll get hurt. So
I think these are coaching opportunities.
So it is coaching opportunities, but maybe you find a different role on this team.
But so this goes back to something that he has said before and feels very firmly about. And one of the other hosts on the show actually said this. Was like, I don't think, maybe it wasn't one of the other hosts. Maybe it was someone that called in and said, at this age, they should be learning the sport and having fun. There shouldn't be a commitment on that level until they're maybe 14 years old, was this person's views on it. But I don't know what area. I think they live in an area around us that is, I don't think it's Gwinnett, but I think it's a like Gwinnett area that's like very sports involved and the kids start really young. But here, you got T-ball. Well, our grandson is 9. Last year was coach pitch. This year is a pitching machine. And next year they go to kid pitch?
I think.
So, we think. So, it's the first year of kid pitch, and you put them in an elite league. These kids, I don't know, you could comment below if you've had a child that's played in travel sports. We have. It's a different level. And it's not like going out to the rec field and seeing the kids maybe hit it, maybe don't. It's a pop fly. They're probably nailing it.
So, on that travel ball thing, our girls' softball program at the high school was bad. We didn't win. We played some pretty close games.
Yeah.
I'm talking about before you got there.
Oh, yeah.
And what I would do is, if you know anything about high school sports, so it's like softball's year round, fast pitch softball. I'm sure baseball's about the same way.
Yeah.
So the high school coach couldn't have nothing to do with the team during the off season. So I coached, a couple other guys coached, and we weren't getting any better. We were just coaching our girls. We're getting in a little tournament here and there, playing teams that were playing tournament ball, getting killed. Okay? So one day I'd had enough, and I had, and give me, the parents got a little upset with me to start with. But what I said was, I recommend every one of these girls go try out for a travel ball team. You're in high school now. You're 14, 15, 16, 17 years old. Let's go try out for travel ball teams and different travel ball teams. Play against each other. Right now we've got 10, 11, maybe 12 girls. They all know they're going to make the team. They've got no competition to make themselves better. Okay?
Absolutely.
We're working our butts off as coaches trying to make them better, but really how hard are they going to work if they know there's nobody behind them going to take their spot?
That's true.
So,
And I did not play.
Right.
I played team sports when I was little. I picked daisies out in the field. But I danced, and I went to a performing arts high school, and I always loved when we would have people that had moved on to professional dancing that would come back to teach us or join the class, or when I could go in a class that was a level above me.
Mm-hmm.
There's, like, for me, that's what pushed me. Seeing the people, I didn't want to be with people that were of the same skill. I wanted to be with people, and it's different because obviously it's not, like a contact sport, I guess. But I really strived for those times where I could be with people that were above. And maybe that's what they were thinking when they put this kid in there. I think he was scouted out, honestly.
Okay.
And, and he's put a lot of work into his pitching. And I think, look, if they're a travel ball team, I'm sure they've got other pitchers as well.
Right.
Maybe the other pitcher that's more comfortable takes over while you work through those fielding issues in practice.
Mm-hmm.
Face mask, They don't use them in baseball? Oh, softball does. And a chest plate. They added the chest plate before we were out. But it's, I think it's more of a coaching thing. But I think if you pull this kid out altogether, you're teaching him something that could follow him into adulthood that's not necessarily going to be a good quality.
So I'm going to go a step further. My freshman year in high school, I made it to the final cut. Okay, it got cut. Then off the varsity, the coach, that ended up being his last year coaching, but like 3 games into the season, he called me into his office and apologized. I made a mistake. I kept a upperclassman ahead of you just because they were upperclassmen. Okay. I never quit anything in my life. And I got really pissed at the coach. And we had some words and stuff. And I was like, you know what? Piss on you. I'm not playing baseball for you.
Uh-oh.
And I quit. The season hadn't started yet.
Oh, okay.
We were still practicing, but I said, you know, and then a week later, I was like, that's the stupidest thing I've ever done. That's the dumbest thing I've ever done. My dream in life was to play baseball, go to college, play baseball, go to pros, just like any other kids. I played all sports, but baseball is what I wanted to play. So the next year, my junior year, I'm like, I'm going to go out, but he's probably going to cut me. But he didn't. But he made me work my ass off to get back in the starting lineup. And, you know, for about, and he was a smart ass. And he knows he was. But about three games into the season, had maybe 1 or 2 at bats, played an inning or 2 in the field. And I'm sitting down there on the bench during the game, and I'm steaming. You know, I'm pissed because I know I'm better than the person that's out there playing. But then I have to keep reminding myself, you screwed up last year, and the only reason you're sitting here is your own fault. But he just, right in the middle of the game, says, are you pissed off? And I, without thinking, was like, as a punk-ass teenager, well, hell yeah, I'm pissed off. And he just laughed and grinned. And the next game, I'm starting and started ever since. But I had to work my butt off to get back there for a stupid mistake. But I learned from it. Is this kid going to learn from it? Is he going to let him quit, and this kid regret quitting, or it can go many different ways. I'm a firm believer if a kid don't want to play and you force them to play, their heart's not going to be in it. Okay. But then on the other hand, I believe if you start, you need to finish.
Well, yes.
That season. But travel ball is a little bit different because travel ball, he started right now. They start in high school's going on right now. He's 10 years old, though, you said,
He's
right?
10, yeah.
So travel ball's going on, and it's going to go on all the way till probably Labor Day weekend. That's a long time.
Yeah.
That's a long time to be miserable and scared.
Yeah. So I think that's why they need to figure out another thing. But one of the things that was going on between the male and female on the show is that, so in the end she was like, So it's not okay to quit a sport that you signed up for before it's over. But it's okay to miss school. And every single one of them said, hell yeah.
Oh, no, that's not
If
okay.
you miss, here's what they said. If you choose to miss school, everybody else doesn't fail. You do. If you choose to ditch your team, you're letting them all down, not just you.
But
they weren't saying, there was something that went on in the conversation before I turned it on, I think, that had something to do with school.
I think by leaving him on the team and they get on into playing and he's on the bench watching, maybe a good thing for him. May turn him around.
Well, yeah.
Do you have another? Is he just a pitcher? Is that all he does is pitch?
I don't know.
That's stuff I'd have to know.
Yeah.
I mean.
Well, I can tell you, having had a pitcher, they want to recruit a good pitcher, but they also want to recruit an all-around player. Yeah. So typically, they can play other places, and they want to make sure that they're a solid hitter too. Yeah. So I doubt very seriously that this team, unless it's a brand new travel team, recruited him simply on his pitching merit. So
I don't know. So now that you can use the DH everywhere, you can have somebody that just bats and you pitchers just pitch.
They can do that now?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So
I don't know. I think there's a way to work through this situation. I think maybe he was a little young for the commitment of a travel team. And it just means that they need to take a step back and work with him more in practice on those things that he's scared through.
Well, there's a lot of professional athletes and folks speaking out now on travel ball period. As I think if you took a survey of most professional athletes, mm-hmm. they would say 12 to 14 at the earliest. Yeah, because you burn these kids out. You burn them out.
You do, and I mean, I don't know. On one hand, I was like, well, you want to get them ready for high school, but on another hand, a lot of travel play. I don't know how many travel players actually play for their high schools. I think it's probably split. I think they get picked up by, scouted at travel tournaments as well as high school.
At one point, they were saying there were more scouts that travel than there are at high school.
Yeah. So I don't think it hurts so many to not, so it's not like they're, but it is very, very competitive. And when you play, you made a good point, because it's year round. Because I remember sitting in the car and watching them have a 3-hour practice in the snow. And we don't really get snow here, so you would think everything would shut down, but no, they were practicing. But you also get a higher caliber and commitment of coaches with the travel teams usually, and more resources when it comes to, like, usually there's batting cage access or coaching, like professional coaching access and stuff like that. So I get the allure of it. I get people wanting to do it.
But also, before you throw your kid into travel ball, just my opinion again, you should have that conversation with them to start with. Do you want to do this? Is this what you want to do? Is your dream to play ball at the high school level, college level, and you got to dedicate yourself to it? If that's not what they want, then travel ball is not for them.
But how many kids nowadays actually know that they want that commitment at that age?
As a kid, I knew what I wanted to do.
Right. But kids today they have a lot more distractions. So I don't know if they're as clear on what they want to do. You know? Like, we've got one grandchild who is playing baseball. And if you go out and you watch him play, he looks like he lives for it. His dad's making him play. If you want to play on the video games and you want to do this, then you can spend 2 hours a week getting outside playing a sport. But while he's out there, he's committed to it.
But if his dad didn't make him and said, you can stay on your video games all day long, he wouldn't be playing baseball.
No.
No.
But what you're saying is he shouldn't make him. And I thought that too, but I see that it works in this particular case.
I'm talking travel ball.
Oh, okay.
Oh. I don't agree with making them. It's
they need to get out of the house.
So. Got to get out of the house. I don't care what you have them do. You have to make them play this sport or make them play that sport, but you need to limit the video game, because let me tell you, video game, I can go off and you can see smoke coming out my ear. All video games are is a babysitter.
Well, I think it limits their touch with reality, and makes things
not want to have a real job.
Maybe, yeah. At some point, you know, it kind of hinders coping skills and other things, but that's a whole nother conversation. I just heard this and thought you might want to talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, I like it. I just.
So what would you do if it was your child and you're in this situation? What do you do?
If the season's already started, you finish it out.
Yeah. I mean, we both feel that way.
Yeah. If going on down the road in the travel ball season, whoever's running that team says, hey, we don't want you, that's a different story.
Yeah, that's a different story. You know, if it gets
they may get to a point and see that his heart's not in it, and they may say, hey, we don't want him on this team.
Yeah. But unless that happens, then he should go and be expected to play all out.
And he may go a couple games, get into one tournament, it going pretty good, and him sitting over there not playing, he may say, hey, I want in the ball game.
If he's
it may
honestly,
flip a switch
he
on
loves
him.
it enough that he's put the effort into learning the skill. I mean, pitching is not just. Is it? I only know softball pitching, but I mean, there's a lot of time, a lot of lessons, and everything else that goes into it. For softball, is it the same way with?
I'd imagine.
I would imagine. So, if he's put all of that into it, he's got an interest in it. I mean, a deep interest, because he's committed to it that far. I just think it's maybe too early. He's seeing things on a different level. When you go from rec ball to travel ball, it is a huge difference.
And in 2 or 3 years, he might say, hey, I'm ready to play now.
He might, and he may say it in 2 more games.
Yeah.
I think it's too early to tell. You're in it now. But I'm with you. I feel like if you make a commitment to a sport or a team, you're obligated through that season. Because you've made a commitment to your teammates.
Yeah, because we're seeing it right now on my grandson's team.
It would be so easy.
They made it what, 3 games with enough players, so their last 3 games they've played with 8 players.
Yeah,
And
this was a park issue, but it would be so easy for the parents on this team that are remaining to go, forget it, done. But the ones that are still there are trying to teach their kids something.
Mm-hmm.
They're trying to teach them to have some tenacity through their losing season, and also to stick with their commitments.
Play as hard as you can play.
No matter what. And
learn from your mistakes.
And the ones that are coming are, but there have been several that have quit already. And we had that issue in softball too. It was, some of them.
And if you're a coach that's playing a team that don't have enough players, we'll talk about sportsmanship on another one. But you're up, beating them in the ground. Don't steal bases. That's like pressing full court basketball when you're up by 30 with 2 minutes left.
When you're coaching these kids,
have some class when you win.
Yes,
please.
When you're coaching the kids, it's not just about teaching them the skills in the game. It's about teaching them sportsmanship.
How to be a good young man, good young lady.
Yeah. You want them to be a good winner and a good loser.
Respectful. You don't want to lose, but
no.
you can lose with class.
Correct. And you don't carry that attitude back out on the field. You do not quit playing the game until the game is over.
Right.
So, anyways, that's our take on this particular situation. I thought it was going to be like 10 minutes.
You thought wrong.
I did. All right, guys, let us know in the comments what you think. What would you do? Have you been in that situation before? Love to know. And as always, let us know where you're watching from. We will always comment back. We love to communicate back and forth with our subscribers. We love it.
Absolutely.
All right. Y'all have a great night.
Adios.